So, good morning. What I try and do every single week is really just share how the beacons works. Now, I mean, there's many reasons for doing it. I mean, first of all, it's a bit of a discipline to actually, you know, putting it on in writing, some of the structure behind what we do. But really, a lot about the beacons is really just a very simple process. But behind the simple processes, there's kind of things to learn. There's tactics. There's things to make it easier. And really, most organizations can do this for themselves. Obviously what we do is we add a lot of data to it and we kind of improve our processes and do it all at scale with a very sort of clear audience that we've got. But for most organizations, the power of video is there for you to use anything you want to do. It's, really literally from your phone or whatever. So anyway, the purpose behind these weekly calls is just to say, like, drop in, ask any questions. I'll take you through some specific topics that I'm talking about today. But if there's something else you want to ask about, just go for it. But what I was going to talk about today was, the power of video. And this is something that we've been thinking about a lot in the last week or so, was mainly the fact that, the sales cycle, it talks about, basically you're trying to get into kind of know, like, and trust model, whereby someone who comes across your services gets to know you, gets to like you, gets to trust you, and then they're in the buying mode. And traditionally that kind of engagement happens quite far down the line, as I'll talk about later. But the whole business, if we can deal with this kind of know, like, and trust piece a lot faster, a lot more easily, then your sales cycle gets a lot shorter, and I think dramatically a lot shorter. So that said, what we're going to do is just go through what we talk about connection points, where you actually connect with your clients, how you actually engage with your clients. The law of nine, which anyone was new to me, but probably very, very common in marketing, but it's a really good touch point to go back to. Talk a little bit about know, like, and trust as a concept. Do a comparison between sort of old world sales cycle and new world sales cycle, and then really how you can be closing everything to a lot faster. So I was going back to this quote. It's like over the last couple of weeks, Tim Ferriss wrote this amazing book called The 4-Hour Working Week. And as a concept, it's amazing. The book is, I would say, it's aspirational, but there's so many top tips in there and bits of information that anyone can use to to improve what work they want to do, how to get more work done. So if you get to 4 hours, your work can be brilliant. That's amazing. But even if you don't, there's just so many things, so many hacks that anyone can apply. But one of the reasons why the sales cycle change is so valid because it's going to come back to this quote, and he was saying that if you're trying to kind of start your own side business or what else, or you're trying to just be more effective in your work, is the very first thing you need to do is ask your boss if you can work from home. Because we all know that if you're in an office, you have to get there, you have to get back. It's maybe half an hour lost, 2 hours lost, whatever your commute is. Then once you're there, you talk to your colleagues. There's actually lots of lost time throughout the day, and you're still meant to be there showing face 9 to 5. Whereas you kind of know that if you're working from home, no distractions, you just get stuff done. But also you can delegate things. So this is a very important quote to think about as we go forward, because we're now in a situation whereby everyone's working from home or working from remotely a lot more. So people do have more space in their time in their days, because they're not filled with kind of unnecessary meetings. They're not filled with accidental chit chats in the hallway. And so there's many different reasons why the working day is now opened up for you to get into it as part of your sales cycle. And then video allows you to do that in a way that you only had to do face to face. So this quote is really interesting as a context for everything we're talking about. So I quite often come back to these slides. We often ask technology companies, who is your buyer? And they say, oh, it's the CEO, the CFO, blah, blah, blah. And you go, well, okay, even if it's the CEO, the top guy in the organization, he's not going to do anything without talking to his CIO or his CFO, and actually go a bit deeper. Whatever they're signing off has been driven, from a problem that was in their business or an opportunity that was identified in the organization. it's come through the layers, it's been signed off, approved. Maybe the information or the idea came from a supplier, or a partner, or a consultant. But the point is, suddenly you're dealing with multiple audiences, not just the guy that writes the check, the guy that signs it off. And I always use the word guy in a completely asexual way. So guy, person who signs it off, but you're dealing with multiple audiences straight off the bat, not just the one person who actually is in charge of saying yes or no. And all these people influence their decisions about identifying solutions to problems they're facing. And of course, we all digest content, or we all access content differently. So some of us look at LinkedIn all the time, Facebook, video, YouTube, so we've all got our own different ways of accessing content. And then of course, once you've accessed the content, we digest it differently. So it could be email, video, PDF, blogs, so we all have our own preferences. And what's also interesting about this, and it's something that we focus on a lot with the beacons, is that, I may prefer video, but actually, if I'm just getting on a plane or going into a meeting and I'm looking at something quickly, even that kind of one image that you've got, the one kind of like image that you use on maybe your Instagram post that captures a message, that can be enough, because it's not just about how I like to digest stuff, it's also having got the time to digest it. So making it easy for people to digest the content and the message you get across is super key. So you kind of have to kind of recognize all these audiences, all these access points, and then all the different ways that people digest content based on not just what they prefer, but also what they've got the time to do when you've caught their attention. So you get a very complicated process, a complicated kind of set of requirements. And one of the things that we do in the beacons is just do that at scale for any organization. So you need to be thinking about how you do this for your business. And then of course there's the law of 9, which again, being an accountant and not a marketer, made total sense when I understood it. And then I kind of thought, is this common knowledge for marketing people? Is this common knowledge for someone in sales? I don't know the answer to that, but for anything you're doing, the law of 9 is very simple. It's, no one's going to buy from you until they've heard from you 9 times, or they've seen your brand 5 times, or heard your message 9 times. And it could be the law of 6, 7, 8, but the point is, it's not just they see your name, they see your brand and go, wow, I must have 10 of those. They're going to see your message and think, well, that's interesting. Then they're going to see you maybe quoted in an article somewhere else, and maybe see your Facebook post, or maybe see something you do on LinkedIn, or see. So the faster you can get in front of them 9 times, the more you establish that, or the faster you make that strong credibility that gets them closer to the buying point. And then this is really starting to build into why video is powerful in this whole cycle and getting to the law of 9. And then add to that, I mean, this is just a formula, you've got, and I'm actually going to add in the timeliness piece. So not only is it just about, multiple access points you have to be managing and multiple ways of digesting the content, you've also got to be able to, match that to, what they've got time to digest at the time they're going to engage with you. And of course, you've got to do this 9 times to get in front of the audience, the law of 9. So you've got this kind of formula, access to the power of digest, to the power of, I guess, availability to digest the content, in whatever I'm doing at the moment, all times 9. So it's a massively complicated industrial process you have to be creating for yourself. And again, you don't have to do all of it, but the point is just to be aware as to what is possible. And even if you're doing some of this, it's better than doing none of it. But obviously, you want to do all of it. But again, in another video, I'll talk about many ways you can hack this, so you can do it at scale. You can do all of this on your own. One person in your organization, 100 people in your organization, there's no excuse why you can't be doing this for yourselves. And I'll show you, and we'll schedule that in one of the coming sort of Friday sessions about how you can do this at scale. And of course, one of the things that we bring to the table is, what actually works, because we do this across multiple clients. We can know that if if it's working or not working, what should improve, what should work, what shouldn't work, even before you go into it, and then comparison across multiple clients. So as you're doing this individually, you've got to be thinking of what's working, using the data, using your tracking, using your Google Analytics to work out what you're doing, where your customers are coming from, and what they're reacting to. The key part of the equation. And really, this is what you're getting to, this whole concept of know, like, and trust. And when I say that, it really means the person buying from you is not just going to buy blind. They've got to know who you are. They've got to like who who you are, what you're talking about, and then you've got trust that you can deliver. And this whole cycle, if you're talking about, traditional sales, it requires multiple meetings to get there, multiple face-to-faces, lots of phone calls, follow-up calls. There's a gradual building of trust. And one of the things you can do with video very, very early on is to break through these three barriers, these kind of like levels of kind of, I guess, engagement before someone's actually going to buy from you. So video allows you to do all these things in a way that was slow and painful, in the traditional model of face-to-face. And as a side note, you'll always hear me saying that everything you're doing here is going to drive your face-to-face, your traditional business insanely. So this is not like you're building an online business and the traditional business is just going to bumble along as before, or go back to whatever it was before. This is whatever you're doing through this model is going to absolutely transform what you're doing with your traditional business. So this is the way I look on the traditional sales cycle. And I've worked in so many sort of large consulting engagements or outsourcing engagements where you're selling to a client, big complex deal, hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds, euros, whatever. And the whole process takes maybe 18 months, sometimes longer. And the worst thing is you can get to month 18 and then the whole thing collapses. So even all this work doesn't lead to anything. But what happens actually up front is that the law of nines applying. People are kind of finding out about the opportunity, understanding what you can offer them, what's available in the marketplace. They're seeing your name. They're kind of digging a bit deeper. They're kind of working out, for what their options are. So that's what they're doing in the background before you're kind of involved. And then when you engage with them, you've met them at an event, or you've picked up the phone, or you've introduced them. At this stage, they've heard who you are, and then you're starting to get a dialogue going, and you're starting to understand what they're looking about. So they're kind of, hearing who you are. And then I always talk about the best example was one of my friends worked for Korean air conditioning company. And again, I'd never heard of them before, but as soon as he mentioned their name, I started seeing the air conditioning company's brand name on the side of vans, in the hotel rooms. The air conditioning had their brand on it. You realized I'd completely ignored it until I was actually being pointed out who they were. But it's the same with your brand. Whatever you're doing is that once you say that your name is this and hear what you do, then they'll start to see it and start to think about it, engage in a way that they wouldn't have done unless you'd been in front of them and put me that first kind of awareness piece. But again, they've got to go through it 9 times before they'll actually fully engage with you. But what actually happens further down the line is that you engage with them, you've got to understand, and finally you're going to present to them. And at this stage, you bring in your experts, bring in your specialists who are going to talk about, how your service, your whatever it is, works. And they're the deep experts that can answer any questions about the technical stuff. They're not the sales team. But they're brought in as part of the sales process to show how real this is. And if you're a single person consultancy business, then this is you. You are the expert and you're selling. If you've got a team, then it's you, the sales lead, bringing in the specialists. But it's kind of like maybe 2/3 or a third of the way down that you're actually starting to bring in the specialists. And at the end of the day, this is what people are buying. They're buying their skills, their knowledge, their experience, their kind of war stories, their lessons learned. Again, also more importantly, they're passionate about what they're doing and their deep knowledge about this one area. So that's where the kind of sale really happens, when you've seen the people who are behind the scenes and actually hearing them talking about what they're just super experts at. And then, of course, there's the discussion, negotiations, and closing. And at this point, you're getting to the kind of know, like, and trust piece. They know who you are. They start to meet you, and they like you, and they've met the deep experts, and they've totally trusted you. So therefore, they're now happy to discuss about making this real. So that's the traditional model. But when you look at the video-based model, you can actually restructure this in a way that's very, very powerful. So you're out there, you're putting your video content out there, you're running maybe live events like this, or maybe you're recording content, but you're getting your content out there. And as I talked about in other events, the power of video is insane, because you can leverage so much of the content and reuse it in many different formats. Again, separate conversation, but what you're doing is you're taking the video that you've done, and then you're leveraging it and distributing it. So this means that the game's changed. People are coming to you. They're looking for, again, I always use the example of artificial intelligence in recruitment, but they're looking for AI in recruitment. So they're searching for AI in recruitment, and your name's popping up continuously. Your brand's popping up. Your videos are popping up. Your blog post, your LinkedIn profile is constantly popping up. Around their key search terms, and the search or what they're searching for. So people start to find you. But because you've got your content out there, you're applying the law of 9. This is all happening before they actually engage with you. And by the time they do engage with you, they've seen the video, they've seen your COVID haircut, they've seen your study, they've got to know you, and hear, see who you are, but also they've got to know you in terms of your personality. I don't normally wear t-shirts to work, but today I am. But they've got to know your style, they've got to know you as a person. And so that and they've also heard you talk about your special subject. So they kind of know, like, and trust piece has been dealt with already. So you've killed the law of 9, you've got through the know, like, and trust, and they're engaging with you. They know who they're dealing with. They're picking up the phone to talk to you for the first time. They're turning on the video cameras to do a face-to-face discussion with you, and they know what they're getting. They know who you are. They're trusting you, and the conversation suddenly starts a lot deeper. So at this stage, you know that they're already interested, because they've reached out to you after they found you, after they've been looking for a solution to the problem, and your name's popped up continuously, and they've seen you. They've thought, well, I need to speak to this guy. They're the experts. I want to engage with them. So at this stage, they know you, they like you, they trust you enough to spend time, commit half an hour, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, I don't know, to talking with you. And so you're through all the major barriers. And this is, so in terms of your sales cycle, the first time you've heard of them is much, maybe they're much further through the decision process. You're not wasting time on too much, sharing of information, building those like trust. They've done all that beforehand. So everything in these first 3 steps, first 2 big steps, finding the opportunity of engaging with them, and then this whole know, like, and trust piece, that's all been done by the time you first talk to them under the new model. So this whole piece between, you engaging with them or for presenting to them and actually closing is rapidly reduced because all the hard work's been done up front. They found you, they've seen your services, they know that's what they're looking for, they know they've seen you, they've met you, they engage with you online, and that whole these barriers of know, like, and trust have all been pushed through. So when you present, you're presenting to someone is engaged, has got this far, they know who you are, they've psychologically gone through the know, like, trust journey, and it's a much more meaningful conversation. And it's meaningful on many levels. Obviously, in terms of the sales cycle, you're much closer to a sale than you would be in the traditional model when you present for the first time. But it's also the level of depth of the conversation is a lot greater. They know the questions to ask. If they've seen your videos, they've seen your content, and they're much more informed when they come to the table. So they're not asking basic questions; they're asking more advanced questions. That again allows you to shine in your specialist topic and bring out the best in what you know about your field. But they're not having to have like multiple sort of basic meetings around the basics. These have all been covered by your videos, by your content you've created up front. So you not only you further down the sales process when you actually present to them, but you're also having a much deeper conversation that's going to get you even further down the line. So you're not wasting time on the basics or going back over the basics you're jumping straight into real conversations in a way that you can help tailor your offering to their requirements. So just this simple thing is, you're taking all this hard work, applying the power of video, leveraging the video, distributing the content you're creating. And so when someone engages with you, psychologically they're further down the line, they've crossed the major barriers, you're having a much deeper conversation, and then it's the sales cycle, the close cycle becomes a lot shorter. No one's going to reach out to you and engage with you unless they're pretty serious about taking some kind of action, maybe not immediately, but certainly enough that they're actually committing time with you, to hear more about you, to connect with you, and they are coming to you as an open opportunity. So huge, massive benefit, and the other thing, I'll go back to the Tim Ferriss quote, the 4-hour working week, is that people's working days currently are a lot more flexible. We've seen meetings get arranged at a much shorter notice than previously, because suddenly people do have this gap. It's all not a gap, it seems like a bad thing, but it's a good thing. This kind of they have slightly more time to listen to new ideas, whether it's to watch your videos or read your content, or to do scheduled video sales calls with them. And they've got the time for it, so the ability to not have to wait for another couple of weeks in their diary is there. So take advantage of that now. It's a huge opportunity. So these traditional barriers to sales have gone in terms of getting to know you, but also geographically. I mean, the whole issue of having to pick up the phones, arrange diaries, and work out, even if it's just in the same city, same town, when are they available, what openings do they have, finding the time to go across town or get on a plane. These barriers, of aligning diaries, aligning travel, aligning logistics, they have all gone. And as I said in the last slide, the speed of adoption, the speed of ability to engage with people, on the one hand happens because of the videos they've seen of you in advance, but then to arrange the meeting, it happens the next day or a couple of days, rather than in a couple of weeks' time. It's happening a lot faster because the barriers have been removed. And regardless of what your product or service is, this is absolutely insanely powerful, because they can get access to the benefit you can give them sooner. So they can get access to the benefit that you can give them sooner. So whatever they're engaged in looking to get solved can get solved faster. So not only do you get the sale faster, but they get the benefit faster, which is, we have to think about that in terms of they've got a problem, they need it solved, they've got an opportunity they want to jump on. So the sooner they can solve the problem, the sooner they can move on to the next thing, and you've got the answer. So speed of adoption, advancing the sales cycle, but taking advantage of people's more flexible diaries now is going to change your sales cycles dramatically. So as I say, you've made it easier for them to find you. You've made it easier for them to understand what you do. You've already done the kind of know, like, and trust. So when you're actually talking, there is a deeper engagement right from the start. And the client knows what they're buying. It's not like they think they're buying one, they're having a call about one thing, but actually it's something else. They've done the preparation in advance. You've not had to kind of start from scratch. They're coming in at an advanced level. And as I said earlier, this means the level of conversation, level of engagement is a lot more powerful, which again speeds up the sales cycle. So they understand your service and they're coming in prepared to buy. Simple as that. And if they're not prepared to buy, then they're close to it. They've done their research in advance, and I need to finish the slide, but they've done their research in advance, but the pushbacks, the kind of objections, they've dealt with them themselves in their head. They're still going to have them, but all the kind of barriers to doing something, if they've got as far as engaging with you in this way, then psychologically they're so much further down the sales cycle. So it's super exciting, super powerful in terms of just the modern world that we've all walked into. So for you, there are kind of very simple steps to take, not rocket science at all, but these are what the steps you need to take. First of all, you're going to help follow this line. You're going to help them, make it easier for them to find you. You're going to get your video, 3 different videos, get them up online. You're going to leverage the content. You're going to get content from the video and get it turned into PDFs, written documents, excerpts, quotes, and then you're going to put it out online. You're going to leverage it. You're going to put it on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. You're going to use Hootsuite or Buffer to kind of distribute the content in a way that's not killing your time. And again, we're going to have a separate call on optimization, how you really do this all at scale. But you're going to create the 3 videos, and you're going to get in the habit of creating more videos. And one of the things we've scheduled in the coming weeks is a whole session on video and how it is, becomes easy to do. And I hated it, got comfortable with it, got comfortable with who I am. And you can do the same, but you kind of have to go over some hurdles with video to make this real. Because this is about you at the end of the day. It's not about a brand or a corporate image. This is about the expert getting in front of the customers who want your expertise. Simple as that. So if you stutter, if you hum and haw, that's just you. That's life. It's nothing being polished that up and improving it. But you got to be real, and people are able to cut through a lot of the branding and see the real person. If they're interested in that, then that's you the truth. So you've got to get your videos out there, get them leveraged, get them distributed. And you've got to kind of recognize where you are in the sales cycle and what this is doing. So when you're having a conversation with a client for the first time, you've turned on the video cameras, you're prepared for a much deeper level of conversation than a basic explanation of your services. They're going straight into depth. And therefore, coming at the back, you have to be more prepared for pushing the close rather than thinking it's going to take a month or 2 months, whatever your traditional cycle was. Really, if it was 2 months, it should be a lot, maybe a month or a few weeks, because they're coming to you at a much more advanced positioning. So the power of video is insane. And it can shorten sales cycles. It does shorten sales cycles because of it pushes through the know, like, and trust barriers. It pushes through the law of 9. It does require you to create content, but if you're doing it at once, 2, 3, 4 times a week, this becomes a habit. But so does the rest of the distribution piece as well. And there's many ways to outsource that or do automatically, which we'll talk about separately. But all you have to be doing very simply is getting your 3 first videos up and running and taking it from there. So we're going to do more of these. It's every Friday, 12 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to do more of these. And we'll let you know by email what's coming up next. If you're interested in our training we do that supports this, there's a special discount, the Friday discount, 15% discount. It takes you through the methodology, not just methodology, but day by day over 10 days, what you have to do. Download the free guide that shows you what it's all about. So even that for free, it's going to give you a huge starting point for doing this yourself. And then if you're interested, 50% discounts there. Just use the code Friday, thebeacons.org/courses. But what the 10-step methodology does is get you started within 24 hours. Literally a few hours work gets you up and running within 24 hours, no matter what your starting point is. And really, we take you day by day how you can generate revenues quickly, how you grow your audience, how you expand your audience, how you actually really engage with your audience, which takes it to a new different level. And then we focus on how you can leverage and grow, how you can expand, your operations, how you get involved in doing less of the work, more of the content creation, the data to focus on, and really how you plan to embed this in your long-term business. So that's the 15% discount. Code is Friday. And one more thing, everything we're talking about here doesn't just impact your online business. Everything you do online is going to have a transformative impact on your traditional business because of the simple thing called Google. If Google loves what you're doing, and we teach you how to do this and how to structure and how to do it properly, if you position yourself easily with Google, and it's things like as simple as file names that you save your file name as, can make a big difference. But if you do these steps, then Google's going to love you. So when someone's looking for a traditional side-by-side, face-to-face service, which is what your bread and butter has been, you're going to pop to the top of Google's rankings because of all the work you've done around your video content and leveraging it. So yes, there's huge opportunities online. Yes, it's a global audience, etc., but it's also going to drive your online business, your traditional offline business as well. So 15% discount code, use it anytime you want. We normally keep up for a couple of days, change the code every week. But any questions, as ever, reach out and ask any questions.